A decade ago, the public face of digital crime was the Silk Road, an online black market where lone hackers sold illicit physical goods right from their basements. Today, the digital underworld functions through rigid corporate hierarchies. These syndicates operate as multi-billion-dollar empires, led by individuals who manage their organizations with the same professional structure as a Silicon Valley software firm. Europol's official threat assessment reveals that the primary commodity of this landscape has shifted from physical contraband to personal data, fueling a cycle the agency describes as steal, deal, and repeat. To achieve global scale, these organizations deploy a sophisticated technological stack. They layer complex encryption over proxy servers to mask their locations, while using artificial intelligence to automate the extraction of data. This corporate-level infrastructure is designed to scale, turning the personal data of the general public into a liquid asset. No institution is immune to these tactics. In one instance, the Sri Lanka Central Bank was tricked into transferring $2.5 million directly to cybercriminals, moving the assets from a verified government node into a completely anonymous destination. Once funds leave the protection of a regulated bank account, they enter a digital labyrinth where the total sum shatters into hundreds of fragments to avoid detection. A syndicate's true power lies in this ability to vanish stolen funds into the global financial system before an alarm is even raised. A recent 2-terabyte data leak provided the Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project a look into how this process begins. They uncovered scam empires operating out of professional call centers that manage the initial financial extractions. To move that money safely, these call centers depend on a hidden network of unregulated payment providers that operate outside the view of traditional regulators. This diagram shows the mechanics of that network. A single transaction enters a shell company node and splits into dozens of micropayments, tricking the global banking system into processing the movement as legitimate business expenses. This process successfully severs the money from its criminal origins, though holding these sums in traditional cash remains a high-risk liability for the syndicates. To secure their profits long-term, syndicates convert their cash into cryptocurrency, the foundational currency of the digital underworld. Moving these funds requires deep digital obfuscation. Hackers achieve this by routing assets through blockchain bridges to move between networks, digital mixers to blend transactions together, and decentralized exchange swaps to trade without a central authority. The $292 million KelpDAO exploit illustrates how these techniques are being refined to target the internal logic of the blockchain itself. The schematic of the KelpDAO bridge shows the vulnerability. By feeding a fake burn input into the code, hackers triggered the release of a massive block of assets that effectively appeared out of nowhere. By exploiting these flaws in decentralized finance protocols, syndicates are now printing new capital directly from the code they target. While designed for privacy, cryptocurrency relies on a permanent, unalterable public ledger, a digital paper trail of every transaction ever made. Blockchain intelligence platforms use this permanent record to trace supposedly invisible transfers, connecting the dots between anonymous wallets to identify the individuals behind them. This map shows the scale of the counteroffensive. Through efforts like Operation Atlantic, law enforcement has successfully tracked and frozen a staggering $34 billion in illicit funds worldwide. Authorities are now dismantling these empires by weaponizing the same public ledger that criminals once used to store their wealth. The money that successfully clears these digital hurdles provides the physical infrastructure for the most dangerous corners of the internet. Investigations by ProPublica have exposed how these funds sustain extremist networks like Telegram, providing them with a borderless financial safe haven. The human cost is even more severe. Europol continues to track how these financial systems support online communities dedicated to violent child abuse. The survival of the dark web is tied to a basic economic law. Wherever there is demand, technology will provide a way to fulfill it. Law enforcement is deploying more advanced tracking, but as long as the internet remains open, the struggle over its multi-billion-dollar